As I look back on my sabbatical from 4 years ago, I'm gonna be talking about a couple of different things as I look at a couple of those video diaries. We're gonna talk about grief and trauma, we're gonna talk about vision boards, and we're gonna talk about overwhelm and doubt. The only reason why I know that is because those were the titles of the next 3 video diaries that I'm going to share with you. If you are new here, I am sharing my video diaries from my sabbatical that I took in 2022. It was life-changing and transformative for me, and I since have been helping women to take the break that they deserve and to design their current life filled with joy. And I'm constantly preaching about taking a break and taking a sabbatical. And so I decided to open up my archives and share, like, just kind of give you a peek into what happens and what can happen during during a sabbatical and taking a break and getting some rest. So all right, let me share the first one with you. Hello everyone, it's Amy coming at you live from West Orange, New Jersey. Why am I in West Orange? My nephew got me a free 2-week guest pass at his gym, which one location is here in West Orange. They have a fabulous lap pool that I can use, and as well as all the machines and everything. So just got finished with a workout, and it is a hot one today, extremely hot. But just to update you, it's been quite a few days since I've posted. Partly was busy, had a lot of things going on. Wrapped up my visit in Washington, D.C., came back to New Jersey for Charles's white coat ceremony on Monday. My parents were here, so had some good family time on Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday morning. And then yesterday and today, a lot of rest, a lot of journaling, and a lot of learning. I attended a vision board workshop yesterday and today. Tomorrow's the last day for that. And so I'm actually sort of following whatever comes my way, any topics that come my way. So this vision board workshop was suggested by my friend Andrea, my Laguna sister. Thank you, Andrea. And there's another online program I'm going to do tomorrow that was suggested to me by my friend Kim. So I'll share that experience with you, let you know how that goes. Also, I am part of Growth Day, which is Brendan Bouchard's coaching program. I'll probably get into more detail about that because it has so much resources. So I've mentioned before how I'm just sort of receiving, and I feel like I'm getting better at that. So I'm getting better at receiving. I'm getting better at being intentional about connecting with people and making sure that I'm fostering my relationships. So I'm getting, I'm covering that pretty well. Focusing on health, making some changes there. That's going well. And interestingly enough, and sort of like a path and plan is starting to take shape, starting to get clearer and clearer, or more and more clear what I want to do, and like how I want to sort of craft my life at this point for this next phase of life. It's really starting to crystallize a little bit more every day, which is really cool. I'm also making some accomplishments spiritually, getting in touch with parts of my spirituality that I have not fostered very well in recent years. So that has felt good as well. What I have left to do. Okay, here I go with to do. See, I have a to-do list no matter what. So let me not think about this as a to-do. I still haven't processed grief and pain that I have built up. some from many, many years ago, some from more recent years. So there's definitely a lot of like grief and pain and frustration and loss that I'm not really processing, and I'm not really sure what it's going to take to go there. I kind of don't want to, because I certainly don't want to get into a state of depression again. I'm reluctant for that. So, and I still have travel plans and stuff. Like I still feel like I don't necessarily have the time to sit into some of the more painful emotions, but I also know in my head and in my heart that it's something that I need to do. I remember in the past when I was much younger and I was going through an extremely traumatic period in my life. One of the ways that I managed that or coped with that or worked through it, aside from therapy, was I designated time to myself. Like I actually almost scheduled it in, time to grieve and mourn and process loss. And I gave myself permission to do that in whatever way I needed to, whatever I needed to do to like remind myself of those feelings. I would, look at pictures, read journal entries, things like that, to just, sort of let those feelings out. And I remember that was extremely helpful at the time, and it enabled me to function. But I'm not sure that it actually completely processed the trauma of it. I've always had this lingering feeling that there's trauma that's being stored in physically in my body. I had someone suggested that to me years ago, and it rang true. And while I have tried to do several different things to heal that or treat it or whatever the right words are, I've never quite felt like I have succeeded in getting it out. And so I'm not sure what the block is there. If any of you have any thoughts or ideas, shoot them my way. But hope all is well with all of you. Hope you're dealing with this heat okay. I mean, it is, it was hard even moving today because it was so freaking hot. But anyway, stay safe, stay cool. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Oof. All right. Lots of things coming to mind there. And then I found myself following tangents as I listened to what I was saying. Again, interesting that I'm starting to get clarity on what I want my next chapter, what I want my life to look like. This is 50 days into my sabbatical. So 50 days of like rest and focusing on healing and all of that to start to get clear and crystal. And so many of you beat yourself up over not being clear about what it is you want or what needs to change. But you haven't taken time out for yourself. You haven't had time to stop and think about it. So that came to mind as I heard myself speak there. And I was kind of curious. I wish I had elaborated on what it is I thought, what direction I was going in that regard. But in terms of grief and trauma, the practice of setting aside designated time to mourn, what I feel is a really, really valuable piece of advice. It absolutely helped for me. I was specifically talking about the loss of a person in that example, because I would literally have designated time to look through photographs, look through writings and mementos, and just really revisiting my time with that person and feeling it and getting in all the feelings and hopefully crying my eyes out. And that did help me feel better. But obviously when you lose a loved one, you can make improvements and evolve, but it doesn't ever really go away. I mean, it comes back at unexpected times with like a sharp pang. So there's that. I don't know if I knew then how much I was grieving some less tangible things. I was grieving that I wasn't going to become a mother. I was grieving that the life that I had been aspiring to was not going to continue to be what I was working towards. Like I was grieving, giving up my corporate career and what that meant to my identity. I was grieving what life looks like, what success looks like, and how that's defined for me. So there was a lot of that grief that was hanging around there. And I know for a fact that I have really processed all of that very, very well. And a big part of that has come from what my mission has been these past 4 years in my podcast and sharing, talking about my story and sharing information with other women and serving women who were in a similar boat to me. Like my podcast, this channel, social media, and what I did with my Instagram, just talking about the topics and the issues and sharing my story over and over and over again has definitely peeled back the layers and helped me see things differently and has gone such a far way in my own healing. What I haven't done, like I was talking about, grief and trauma living in my body physically. I absolutely think that it was trauma. I had a traumatic loss and traumatic experience in my late 20s that I still feel I carry around in my body somewhere. And there's still an element of me of me not wanting to fully face that. It's not the grief, it's the trauma, the shock, the trauma to my nervous system of what it meant when I went through that devastating nightmare experience, which I'll talk about I've talked about it a little bit here and there, and I'll talk about it some other time, I'm sure. But that piece, I'm not sure has been dealt with as well as it could be. And it could be part of like some of the health challenges that I have. So, short little video diary, and it prompted like a lot of different thoughts on things that I've been experiencing. But all right, so let's look ahead. That was day 50. Let's look at day 54 of my sabbatical, which is called vision boarding. So I'm guessing it talks about that vision board workshop that I took. So let's take a look at that. Hello, everyone. It's Amy coming at you, not live, from Reeves Reed Arboretum in Summit, New Jersey. That's what my background is, just a sample of my day from the other day, discovering a gorgeous little oasis very, very close to where I'm staying. So I've had a wonderful week. I'll update you on different things later. But my purpose for today's session is to share information about a vision board exercise workshop that I participated this week. So I've done vision boards before, never digitally. I've done like the whole poster board and cutting out pictures of magazines, and I've had some fun with it. It's a little crafty, but enjoyable, and it helps to get you sort of thinking about what you want for the future and what you're envisioning, etc. And it seemed like a perfect time to do it. A friend of mine, Andrea in Laguna Beach, Andrea Riggs, sent me a link to Veronica Winsky's workshop. Let me make sure. So it's Veronica, but instead of a C, there's a K, Veronica, and her last name is Winsky, Winski, on Facebook. And her website is the Dream Life Formula Challenge. So it was a 3-day workshop, and she has, it sounds like she has a more expansive group that she works with on a regular basis. This is my first exposure to her. And what I enjoyed, first of all, loved Veronica as a person, like her energy, her aura, how she just focused on us. I mean, just absorbing her energy was a wonderful thing. This was all done virtually, by the way. And there were people attending from around the world, which was really cool. And she herself is, oh, I can't remember where she is, but she's not, she's living somewhere, I think South America. But what I enjoyed about the workshop was the questions that she asked us. It really got me thinking. The first question that sort of launched the series was, what lights you up? What lights you up? And the phrasing of that particular question just brought things to mind that, I'm not sure I would have had the same results if the question was, what makes you happy, or where do you find joy? I mean, those are great questions too, but there was something about the phrase of what lights you up that really forced me to sort of think about that and revisit those times. And just the whole process of thinking through that filled me up with just amazing feeling. And then the follow-up question, because we had to write a list of everything, just keep writing and writing and writing for 5 minutes without stopping, of all the things that light us up. And then do it again with how do you feel, how do you feel when you're experiencing those things? So those are the only specifics I'll share from her workshop. I encourage you to, if you're on a similar journey and you're trying to figure out what do you want, because that's where I was. So many different things that I potentially wanted to do, but I wasn't really sure what my true calling or true passion or true priority, or however you want to put it, really is. So the timing of this was great. And she does bring an element of a little bit of woo-woo and energy to it. There was a lot of meditation involved in the workshop series, which is the elements that were missing when I've done vision boards in the past. When I've done vision boards in the past, it was purely sort of tactical driven, achievement driven, list driven, etc. And this time it was just a little more heart connected, is the best way that I can think of describing it. So we created digital vision boards, and let me show you mine. So my first draft of this, I actually called it Amy's Vision, and her feedback was, why not call it Amy's Life? Because the whole point of this is to experience it in the present tense. And I think a lot of the images are self-explanatory, starting with the upper left-hand corner, just staying committed and connected, involved with family, both the family that I was born into and my chosen family, which is becoming more and more evident to me as I spend time with people, like who my chosen family is and why I feel so connected to them. And so remaining in that. The next image over, staying healthy and fit as I continue to age, just really being my best self in all ways, physically, health-wise, wellness, etc. The next one over, babies light me up. They absolutely light me up. Little, small children light me up. Just love them. So I don't have a lot of babies in my life right now. We have, I definitely have some little ones, but definitely part of my vision of how do I make sure that I still have babies in my life, because they're just beyond precious and definitely bring me joy. And I have some ideas on that, but again, won't get into that now. Next row, I've got like a little cluster. The clustered images are not really necessarily related. One is my podcast series that hasn't been launched yet. My
my goal is to launch it in the fall, but I'm becoming more and more connected to what it's going to be and what it's going to look like and what its purpose is and its mission and who it's serving, et cetera. The woman in front of the microphone, I'm realizing and remembering that performing lights me up. And I haven't performed in a really long time. Again, I'm not sure what this looks like in this next season of life, but I deeply miss that. And then the next picture in that little cluster, of course, is laughing and connecting with my best girlfriends. There's something special about groups of women getting together and sharing and laughing and just having a great time. The picture in the middle, love the beach, love the peace. And you can't really tell from the picture, but it's supposed to be a couple in retirement. And so this is me and a partner, somebody to enjoy that season of life with. Not sure what that's going to look like, but that's part of what I'm seeing right now. Then the cluster on the right, the Zen pose, that's sort of representing my, wanting to really stay connected to my spirituality and fully and deeply exploring what that is and what that means to me. That picture of nature there beside it, that's nature is and always will be a part of my life. So how do I embrace that even more fully? And then the last little picture in that cluster is around creating a lifestyle that I can have anywhere. I see myself earning my living while being able to travel, while being able to experience new things, meet new people, etc. Last row, Greatest Showman. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this video of when they were pitching the Greatest Showman to potential investors, and they sang the song "This Is Me." I mean, it's one of those videos and performances that gives you chills from head to toe. This isn't even part in the movie. It's purely raw and just gave me chills head to toe. So enjoying performances and taking in as much live art and art in all forms as I possibly can. Next up, travel, needing to see the world. Then you've got money and a home. I do want to create wealth to the point where I have a home base, even though I may not be there full time, and even though others may use it also. Again, these are all pieces that are forming currently. And then, of course, the beach and the beauty of the ocean and staying connected to that as well. So this is my life. This is what's starting to take hold for me. It's starting to, I'm definitely getting more clarity in a lot of these different directions. I'm expanding on this. So I've created supplemental visions on each category to dive into it deeper and to connect with it. So just wanted to share this because it really had a great impact on my week. And look up Veronica Winsky if you are so moved. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool to be reminded and take a look at that vision board. So many of the things on that board have come to life for me. And, my life has started to come together in that way. So it's kind of cool to see that. Even babies and connecting with babies. I've spent some good quality time with my godson's kids and just all aspects of it, enjoying the arts, nature, having a more flexible lifestyle, travel, like all those things is definitely part of my day-to-day life now. And I built that and I made that. And so it's really kind of cool to revisit it. It's interesting because vision boarding is absolutely included in my course, my on-demand video workshop, Permission to Pause, how to design your pre-retirement, because the vision piece was such an important aspect to it. But it's not just around creating the vision board. It's about how do you then connect with it emotionally on a deeper level to integrate it into your day, into your life, and to bring it to life. And so much of what I learned from Veronica and learned from that workshop, I have continued to implement and tweak and evolve as I have helped other women set the stage with their own retirement. So vision boarding. I had a vision board party at the beginning of the year, which was a lot of fun. I was thinking about doing one mid-year, but here we are. Mid-year's already here. I haven't had a chance to do it. But maybe the beginning of the fall, because the beginning of the fall is kind of a new year feel too. So maybe I'll do one then. But I highly recommend to help you get clarity, help you figure out your priorities and your values, and help you to manifest what it is you want in life. All right, one more video diary. This one is called Overwhelm and Doubt. So that's got me a little nervous. What am I going to talk about? And that was what was that? That was day 56 is this next one. So hold on. Okay. Hi, this is Amy coming at you live from West Orange, New Jersey. I'm at the reservoir at the park. This is the first time that I'm redoing a video log, and it's because my thoughts on what I wanted to address, I missed the main point of what I wanted to address, and I think it's interesting what I missed. So in the first draft of this vlog today, I was talking about how I have woken up the last couple of days feeling a little bit anxious, and that some of real life stuff is creeping in and causing some stress, but not too much, not too bad. It's mainly, I think, a little bit of stress around just feeling like I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot of plans, a lot of possibilities, and I'm making myself open to so many different things. So I'm letting a lot of like information and experiences and feelings and stuff all come in. And it feels tangled right now. That's the word that comes to mind, is tangled. Even though I feel like I'm ultimately heading in the right direction, the day-to-day of this can be a little unnerving. Especially if I don't have my day planned out. Waking up in the morning with absolutely no plan for what you have to get done, like just sort of the freedom of that and the curse of that all at the same time, is definitely causing me some stress and some overwhelm. So there's some of that. I also redid a meditation today on my vision board, a guided meditation. And this is the part that I left out of my first draft of this video. What I wanted to talk about is the edge of doubt that I have that anything is going to be different this time. There is a thought or a series of thoughts somewhere in the back of my mind that it's too late to make changes. It's too late to be different and do different. And if I haven't been able to do it by now, I won't be able to do it at all. And today's the first day that I became consciously aware of that doubt. I've had a couple other people point it out, but I didn't really pay much attention to that. Today's the first day that I was like, oh, I'm not really sure that I am able to achieve this vision, that I'm able to have this life that I'm longing to have. So, I didn't mention that in the first draft. I just talked about overwhelm and having a bunch of things happening all at once. So I'm definitely ready to release what's not serving me. I'm ready to fully embrace the possibility, and to recognize that the self-doubt, the thoughts of self-doubt are just thoughts. Doesn't make it true. And, using my 4 N's, I can notice, neutralize, normalize, and then consider the next best thought or action. So that's what I'm focused on right now, is how do I fully let go of that self-doubt, and embrace the vision of the life that I'm stepping into. I think I'm going to attend a growth group a little bit later. A growth group are different discussion groups. It's almost like a version of Clubhouse within the coaching program that I belong to, Growth Day, led by Brenda Bouchard and several other people. But a growth group is a live discussion group around a topic, and today's topic is about overwhelm. So I think I'm going to jump on that and see what I can gain from it. And just know that, I think it's normal to, be confident and fully embrace something new and still have that tiny little bit of doubt, that naysayer. So still trying to learn how to release that. It doesn't help me. It doesn't do any good. All right, let's take a look at where I am right now so you can enjoy. Beautiful green and blue. This is the coolest day we've had in a really long time. So sitting here, you can't quite see the water. It's being blocked by the high grass there. But it's been a beautiful, breezy afternoon here. Really have enjoyed it. So hope you are all having a great day. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. So I teared up when I heard my former self say, I is this going to be different this time? Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it really is too late. I teared up because I felt sad for her in the moment. And I also feel tremendous amount of gratitude because I have learned that it's never too late. And I have learned that it's possible. And it was not too late even to change myself, to change my views, to change my perspectives, to change my lifestyle. I've done all that. So that's been great. And I'm impressed with her. I'm impressed with how much she was willing, how open she was to learning, and how open she was to not having it figured out and taking it one step at a time. And I also noticed, I talked about like wanting to join a growth group later that day to talk about the topic. So I was identifying the need for community and connection and talking these things through and learning from other people who are going through it. That's being an important piece. It's also helped me to realize that my faith really kicked in at some point. I think it started sometime during the sabbatical, but it has continued because, yes, doubt does creep in, doubt does pop up, but my faith comes in louder and clearer and puts that doubt in its place. And so somehow I've built up my faith in what I see as my higher power, my highest, best version of myself. And that has gone a long way to me living a life, without these daily stresses and anxieties that she mentions there. So my love is going out to my former self. So wow, these last couple, I was really getting into the emotion of it and the nitty gritty. And yes, it was not like a vacation. That the sabbatical was work, was some emotional work. And it doesn't have to play out like mine did. It doesn't have to be structured like mine was. If you need a break, if you need to get clarity, I am begging you, I'm going to continue to beg you every day to carve out a way to make it happen in some way. Even if it's one day, even if it's a half a day, even if it's a recurring 1 hour a week, whatever it is, please get that time for yourself, to give yourself the space and time to have these kinds of thoughts and feelings, and to peel things apart about yourself, and some time where you don't have to be thinking about and everything and everyone around you. I'm going to continue to beg you on that. And if you want to check out my ebook, where I really document how to maximize your sabbatical, whatever that break may be, please check out my ebook, Heal and Restore, the 7-Step Guide to Joy. It is an interactive journal/workbook thing that's going to help you get clarity. I share a lot of the details of my story along the way, a lot of the nitty-gritty. So I'll put the link to that in the notes here. But thank you. Thank you for sharing this journey with me and checking out these video diaries. I am Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister, doing a walk through memory lane as we revisit my sabbatical. 3 days, days 50, 54, 56. Have a great day.